This is a rough start to the week, no doubt about it. The reality is that if you've been paying attention to my YouTube live streams, or if you had been in the Better Traders Club for the last, even since February, I've been talking about this. This wouldn't be a surprise to you what we're seeing right now in the market. So I want to give you the lowdown in a video that's focused just on the same thing that I've said a gajillion times, but now it's right in front of your faces. It's not hidden in a live stream that you may have missed. It's not behind a closed wall of the Better Traders Club. The reason why I'm sharing this now is because pretty much we're almost done. We're almost done exactly what I'm thinking we're going to do. So I'm going to take some time to go through specifically Bitcoin. I'm not going to talk about anything else. Bitcoin has the sole focus of this video. I may do other videos to follow up on other tokens, but for right now, Bitcoin has my attention for a lot of good reasons. And by the way, I'm Moon and Papa. I have courses on thebettertraders.com, and I'm also a 3 Commas ambassador. So onto the charts. Looking here at Bitstamp, we can see that some poor people might be thinking, double bottom, double bottom. No, I don't think so. This isn't a double bottom formation at all, and I don't even want to focus on that. What I want to focus on is actually the TBO. So I'm going to make things just super clear and uncluttered. I get that the majority of you that don't have the TBO are like, okay, great, so what? So I just want to say first off that I'm using the TBO Pro, but I am using the normal default settings. Nothing fancy, nothing special that you don't have or don't have access to with the normal TBO. It is the exact same product that you would be using. So you're looking at the default settings. Just want to make that super clear. What I want to draw your attention to specifically with the TBO is a formula. So this formula is these 2 blue diamonds, which are close long symbols. What these symbols mean is simply to take some profit off the table, or heads up, the trend might be changing soon. So that's what it means. Then we get a cross down, this red X. Cross down literally means that the price should be crossing below the fast line and it should be moving down. And then we have our open short, which is pretty obvious what that means on the weekly time frame. It means that after this candle closes, then we're looking at here. So if you had a short open from here, the short would have gone against you, 26%. But now if you're holding, you would be 32% in profit. So what does this mean? This is great, right? The interesting thing I've noticed is that I've seen this same exact setup, not price action, just the TBO. And let me even hide price action just to make it super clear. So 2 blue diamonds, a red X, and then a pink triangle. 2 closed longs, cross down, open short. Check this out. So if I go back in time here, and this is, look at the date. This is 2018. So I actually need this on. This is bugging me. Okay, there we go. So looking at 2018, what do we have? We have 2 blue diamonds, 2 closed longs, a cross down, open short, and what happens next? Well, what happens next is the price falls down quite a bit. The price falls down about 54%, and it takes about 133 days for it to capitulate. That's the important part. So I began to think and wonder, well, that's interesting. I'm seeing the same, and mind you, I started talking about this back here. Started noticing similarities, and as soon as I saw this, so in January and February, I was like, wait a second, hold on just a minute. And then we got our open short. This confirmed it for me. So I really started making this super clear and obvious to Better Traders Club members. And then in the last couple of weeks, I've been talking about it more here on YouTube. So I want to show you going back. So let's keep in mind, we're at what? 2022, and this is 2018. So that would mean if we're working off of a 4-year cycle, which so many people think doesn't exist anymore for Bitcoin and crypto, which I think is foolish. I have stuck to the 4-year cycle, even when people said, no, we're into lengthening cycles. No, we're into 4-year cycles. I have a hypothesis about price action and our Black Swan event and how that stunted our growth for Bitcoin, but we're going to keep going. Check it out. So subtracting 4 years, that would put us at what? 2014. So let's go back to 2014. Lo and behold, since it's a new chart, we don't have our close longs, the blue diamonds. But I bet you one would be here and one would be here. And then we have our cross down. We have an open short. And what happens next? Well, what happens next is it capitulates 105 days later after the price has fallen 52%. So I've actually done all this work. I've talked about this for quite a while. Knowing how the TBO works, they should be about there. And then we have our cross down, open short, and then the price falls down 52% after about 98 days. Pay attention to that number, 98 days. So we're going to zip ahead to 2018, 4 years later. Close long, cross down, open short. 126 days later, the week after that, we capitulate after falling 56%. So we got 52%. Where is it? 52%, 56%. And it's interesting because this actually happened. This formula happens for the Corona crash. Close long, cross down, but it's too late because this is a black swan event. But the price did fall a lot. So let's look to see where we are right now. We have close long, cross down, open short. So the reason why I have these two measurements here is because going off of our 2018 bear market, we're looking at 98 days after our open short should be the last week of downward movement, and we should have our capitulation happen. If not this week, it'd be next week. So according to our 2014 bear market, that one took 126 bars. And then after that, we saw our capitulation. So I've been talking about this for a while, and we are right on time. So let's talk about price predictions. I personally am of the belief that 20K is going to be our bottom. Now, I understand that we're in a recession, which is really a depression, let's be honest, and that the macroeconomic, the outlook of the United States and other countries is very shaky. So Bitcoin has never experienced this. Bitcoin was birthed out of economic turmoil. So can Bitcoin hold its own? It's a great question. So let's just work off of our calculations about not what I think it's going to do, but what we did before. So we said 52%. That would put us here at 18,500 or so. Yeah, 18,400. And 56% would put us at just under 17,000. The reason why I struggle with this is because of our all-time high. Now, as you know, Bitcoin is a very, very new asset. It's only been around for 11 years. So it's really difficult for me to say Bitcoin's never done this before. Imagine saying that about the S&P. It's never done this before. Even though the S&P has been around since the mid 1800s, maybe late 1800s. The chart that I have for it is ridiculous. It goes back forever. So to make assumptions like Bitcoin has never touched the previous all-time high, that's true. But we're also in a unique market. We're also in a unique situation. So I am of the belief that it will not break below 20K. I'm planning on it. I'm not betting on it, but I'm planning on it. But I also am planning for further downward movement. So the lowest I'm expecting it to go would be essentially right here where the TBO resistance line is here at 16,000, as it says, $300 right there in the red text where you can see that vertical line going back and forth. That to me is pretty much as low as I think it's going to drop. I don't think it's going to drop much lower. So I'm expecting a drop in us to finish at $21,000. And I want to give you the reason why. When we look at numbers as traders, we have to simplify and think about what would the general populace be thinking at round numbers. If you remember, or maybe you were trading back in November 2020, and you remember when Bitcoin struggled to get above 20K just for a little bit. I want to show it to you here on the chart. There's a reason why it struggled. One reason is because you notice the high here is 19,918. And here on the chart, the high was 19,666. So right here, it's so close to touching the previous all-time high. But more than that, one reason why I believe Bitcoin didn't go above 20K, one reason might be the fact that Chicago Mercantile Exchange, or CME, introduced Bitcoin futures at exactly this time, which allowed people to profit on Bitcoin's downward price momentum. So that's one hypothesis. But another one is very clear, $20,000, lots of zeros. Why did it struggle up here? Well, it was reaching a previous all-time high. That's a lot of zeros. $20,000 is a lot of zeros, but you can see it broke through it. So when we're looking at price action over here, and now we're going to hide some of this. So when we look at price action for BTC, and we saw it wick down in this area, where did it really struggle to close below? You can even see here on the right side, it says $31,708 for the weekly close and the daily close right here. This open for the day, the open for the weekly was $31,794. Yes, it wicked below 30K on the weekly time frame. And if we go to the daily time frame, then we're going to see it staying a little bit below. Like right here, it closed below. Our close is at 29,786. So that was the first pierce. Look back over here though. All these prices dancing on 30K. See it? So there's a reason why. It's because it's a lot of zeros. So when we got up to our 62K, this is fantastic. This is why we thought 70K is going to come, 80K, 100K, and 100K was going to be really strong resistance, right? So let's get away from that and come back here. We can see so many times the price action was wicking into this $30,000 range, which is why once that broke, that's why the market really started to panic. So we can see when 30K really couldn't hold here on May 9th, and it wicked even lower on May 12th during the whole Luna fiasco. And now it recovered. Of course, there's a dead cat bounce. That makes a lot of sense. People thought that might have been the bottom. There's our capitulation. We're just going to stay here. I didn't think so. The reason why I don't think so, and I still don't think that we're done, is because of this. It just makes too much sense. So 30K was strong. It was strong support, and now it's become strong resistance. Check it out. Where is the close for the weekly candle? Our one green candle after having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weekly candles. Our one green candle. Where did it close? $29,888. It didn't close above 30K because what was once support is now resistance when the price crosses below. It opens 29,905 and now it's been dumped. It's been rejected. So where's our next strong sign of support? It's the 20K range. 20K to me is the next range that has to be tested, and I think it's going to pass. Another reason why I think it's going to pass is because look at how many times the price wicked on the weekly into this 30K range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I won't buy that one. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times. That's a lot of touches. It's a lot of times that the price is coming down to hit that price level. Okay. How many times has 20K been tested? Well, it's been tested once way back here. And now we have it once right here. So this is actually a little weak. I don't like the distance between these two, but I don't get to pick and choose. So I'm focusing mainly on the price action right here. All of this business right here is making me feel confident that this is our termination zone for our downward trend. So that's again why I'm also feeling like 20K is going to be our market bottom. So let's bring everything back. If that's the case, then what I'm expecting to happen is that this week, or maybe even next week, we bottom out at 20K, and then that's the market bottom. And then we just stay sideways. We stay sideways for a while. Check it out. After we capitulate right here, the price moves up and then it comes back down and we stay sideways for a long time. 15 bars on the weekly is 105 days. So for 4 months, sideways action. If you thought the last couple of months were brutal, just wait. So let's go back and see what did 2014 look like. Well, pretty much the same exact thing, but longer. This one took almost a year. It took 10 months. So if we think about that, 10 months and 4 months, it's gotten considerably shorter. So I think in that range, 4 months sounds reasonable. So let's think about that now. If we do really capitulate this week or next week, that means we're going to be in this sideways action for Well, 4 months would put us to October. 10 months would put us way out. That'd be like February or so, right? Or more. That'd be 8. So that would be April. I don't think that makes a lot of sense, but it could. But what I'm expecting to happen is going to look something more like this, where we capitulate, and then actually it'll be easier. Let me go to the daily time frame, just because I have a lot of drawing that I want to do, because I want to give a better picture about what I think is going to happen. Okay, here we go. Good. So to me, it makes more sense to fall down 20K. That's our bottom. And then we're going to do a relief bounce first. Actually, it'll look more like this, to be honest. It's going to be really fast, and it might go up pretty high, and then it's going to get rejected and come back down to do a test. But it won't go as low. It won't. And the reason why it won't go as low is because after a big exhaustion wick like that, after a big capitulation bounce, there's so many people buying, there's confidence in the market again that that's the bottom. That's what I'm hoping for, at least. And then we're going to do some of this and some of this and some of this. So time frame wise, it makes the most sense to me to see us do this dance for another 4 months. So that would be 120 days-ish or so. So that's looking at like October. So thinking about October, doing our sideways dance, then eventually we're going to do something like this and bump against this resistance. And then finally, what's going to happen is we're going to crack against it, and we're going to start a move. And I'm expecting us to move up to 40K, maybe even up here to 48K, and then having some sort of rally, and then a cool off, a little bit of a bounce, and then a cool off, and then we do this for a while. And then we wait until 2024 for our next rally. So this is what I'm expecting to happen. Admittedly, this looks basically the same as 2018. If you can burn that image into your mind real quick, we can see that we had a pretty spectacular rally in 2018 where we broke out of this range. We actually moved up 240%. It was amazing, only to have it fall down and take a while. And then after our most recent halving in May 11th, 2020, the price really shot up, right? So thinking about that, a 200% move from our bottom. And again, this is very speculative because it's one thing to time where a capitulation is going to happen. It's another to make assumptions about what we could do after our bounce. But let's say on the bullish case, in October, we make a move that's similar to our other ones. That one was 200% up. So a 200% move, just so you know, would put us up here to 77K. This would not make sense. It could make sense, but I see it as very unlikely. It makes more sense for the price to rally like up here, like 60K. That would be a more believable rally, in my opinion, just because of the financial situation in the world. It doesn't make sense for it to shoot up 200K. Interestingly enough, if it does, I want to show you something that's really weird. So we actually have this really interesting trend line happening here. That's kind of crazy. Again, I don't think it's going to happen, but that is admittedly very weird that it just happens to be at 200% where this trend line is. So best case scenario, we move up 200% and we get stopped at about 77K. That would throw everybody for a loop. What could happen for the price to move up 200%? Economic reform, moving to smart money, sound money rather, moving away from the dollar, the US making Bitcoin legal tender, and as soon as the United States does it, which I think they're going to be last, to be honest, but as soon as the US does it, everyone else is going to do it. That means that other countries have to buy Bitcoin. They have to implement a system. Bitcoin is going to be the currency that's used around the world. That would make sense to see a rally up 200%. And it'd be a more stable currency, maybe. But that would be very unlikely. Again, United States, Bitcoin, legal tender. I'd love to come back in this video and laugh. Feel free to laugh right now, Minu Papa. I'm happy for you. I really am. Future Minu Papa. It's great. So what seems more realistic to me is a rally that would be like 100% to see us get stopped out here. at 50K would be amazing given this weird market. So after that happens, then we're going to be doing a lot of nothing until 2024 in about March, April, or May when the next halving event happens. And then we repeat the whole bull cycle again. The reason why I'm making this video so long and focusing on this, and I still have something else to show you, is because I want to give you an idea of how these markets work. I want you to feel empowered and not feel afraid. So it's going to be frustrating for the next couple of months. It just is. But you have to realize that so many of us have already been through this before. And here we are now. And a lot of people that came before me have already been through this. And look where we are now. Even just buying and holding from the top back here in 2013 at $1,000, you're still up 20x. So Bitcoin is just one of those crazy, crazy investments once in a lifetime. Okay, last thing I want to show you is RSI. This one is arguably the most interesting to me. So RSI to me is a dependable, reliable indicator that not only shows growing strength, but growing weakness, despite the market's movements. Now, I'm sharing the good stuff with you, and I already shared it before, so there's not much else I can do, but I just want you to know that this is something that is special, and you're gonna wanna keep this in your back pocket if you're a long-term trader. Bitcoin historically has bottomed out when RSI is below 35 on the monthly time frame. You can see it right here. January 1st, 2015, RSI is at 33.7. Zooming ahead, January 1st, 2019, RSI is at 32.65. It actually drops below, or actually it's 35 on November 1st, then it drops 33.8, 32.5, and then it moves above. So here we are. We're at 33.49 currently. I find that incredibly reassuring. If I bring back our drawings, we can see this white line. I've been watching this and waiting for it. The fact of the matter is that we are in the bottom territory. Don't worry about all the squiggles, all this stuff. If you don't have the TBO, you at least have RSI. The bottom is near, which is great. It's super reassuring. So one thing to note on this, last tip I'll give you, when we get to these levels that are sub 35, just because we hit sub 35 doesn't mean it's a great time to buy, because we could drop a lot lower, as you can see right there. Even going back here, when we got below, we're hit 35, candle close, we actually dropped a lot more, dropped another 20%. So we are in this situation right here. We're at 33, and we still have 17 days left, so it's not fair. But another 20%, just saying, another 20% is 20,295. Just want to say it, just got to put it out there, okay? All this to say that this is why I think we're near the bottom. I got a couple of reliable indicators that I'm looking at. RSI, the TBO, I'm good. This looks like we're ready to be finished, which is super encouraging. So the question you may be wondering, okay, when and where do I start buying? Well, if you don't want to layer your orders, which I think is the best way, then you would want to wait until RSI crosses up or above 35 on the monthly. That would be the best. If you are not like that and you are a trader, then it would make the most sense for you to layer your orders. Excuse me. Let's see. There we go. So I have two targets right here. That's just two targets. I've actually been buying some as it falls. So what you want to do is you want to just space out your orders and just keep going. And the idea is that you want to add more as it falls. So buy a little bit more, a little bit more, a lot more, a lot more. Even if it falls down a little bit further, the reality is that when I use the TBO and when I think about the reality of the trend on the monthly time frame, and I look at Bitcoin's price performance, and I can see that it's only had, back when it was super immature, it dropped below the cloud a lot. When it was much more mature, it only dropped below the cloud once. The last time it did it, 2015, the next time was 2020, 5 years later, and this was on a black swan event. Note here, in our bear market, it never crossed below the cloud. It actually came within what? Let me do it upward. 6% of the cloud. So note where the cloud is, $21,421. So 6% above the cloud would put us at about 22K. So again, there are lots of reasons in my mind, not just because I want it to, but because that's what I'm seeing. There are lots of reasons why I think we're going to find our bottom at 20K. That's just what I'm seeing. That's the best way I can explain it. It's plain as day. So the best thing to do right now, if you're interested in accumulating cryptocurrency, is to focus first on Bitcoin. Don't mess with anything else right now, because everything else is trash. Everything else is burning up. Chunk of burning love. We look at a lot of these tokens. Even Ethereum has dropped considerably. Again, I'm not talking about other tokens in this video so much as I am talking about Bitcoin. And the reason for that is because it's not altcoin season right now. It's time to focus on Bitcoin. Bitcoin's here for the long haul. Bitcoin has no CEO. It has no governing board. It has no, there's no way to manipulate the blockchain. I am not a Bitcoin maximalist, but I am a practical investor and trader, and I see that Bitcoin does things that other currencies can't. I realize that it has diminishing returns. I realize that it's slow and it doesn't pop and make these huge jumps anymore. I get it. But as far as the long term, like the real long term, thinking years down the line, this is one of the best crypto investments out there. Just saying. So I understand that the market right now is shaky. I understand that you may be feeling really terrible about the market. I get it. I'm here to tell you that we're on time. So I don't think, again, it's going to be a quick rebound and we're going to go up to $1 million right away. But I think that the bottom is basically starting to happen, which again, should be exciting for you, especially as a trader. That's what I want to leave you with on this super long video, BTC analysis on a very deserving day. Stay safe this week. Get ready for those bottoms. And until the next time, you know what to do. Stay awesome and stay in the green. Peace.